request Dr. Now I would request Dr. Amit Andre sir to deliver his session. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much, madam, and all the dignitaries who have given this opportunity to be here today, and all the fantastic teachers, professors who are here to explore the emerging technology space so that they can learn more and educate their students accordingly. As Madam said, I'll not waste much of the time into further introduction, and let's dive into the topic to the core. Give me a moment, I'll share my screen. So as discussed today, our focus would be to understand the machine learning on AWS and what are the different AWS services which will help us to explore machine learning in different segments, which is the fundamental core value. Our objective during this session is to explore machine learning with AWS, to explore deep learning with AWS services, what are different pipelines on AWS with respect to machine learning, few use cases, and best practices to select appropriate project or approach when we plan to work and define.
Sir, your voice is not clear.
Okay. Is it better now? Hello, am I audible? Hello?
Yes, sir, you are.
I'm audible, right? Perfect. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chetan. So yeah, that's the objective for the day, where we start with understanding of machine learning, deep learning, pipelines on machine learning, use cases around adopting machine learning techniques, selecting a project and approach towards machine learning, and summarize the learning. Post this session, if you have any doubts and questions, you can anytime connect with me. You can search on social media, or the college has my email ID and credentials where they can connect with me. However, we'll try to address all the questions and Q&A during the session itself. Feel free to stop me when we are discussing. If you have any emerging or immediate question related to the topic. If there is nothing related after topic, probably I'll ask you a few questions. At that time, you can open. That's how we will try and fix this approach of the session today. I'm sure that all of us might have heard the terminology called machine learning. And if today, if you Google, or if you explore or talk with anybody, this is the most commonly discussed term on how and what machine learning is all about. Machine learning has millions of definitions today in this world based on the people. However, just to simplify from the AWS perspective, let us talk about a few important aspects which are required for learning. Machine learning is fundamentally a process which trains your machine, which means that your machine is learning so that it can work, act, adopt, recommend accordingly. So fundamentally, when we speak to explain machine learning, very common use case uh, is e-commerce sites. Let's say you have been asked with creating a backend application that will provide product recommendations to customers based on their past purchases. So this is a very common activity. Everybody today uses machine learning, uses the shopping sites, maybe Amazon or Prime or Netflix, any of those shopping sites. So how does the machine know what is recommended, which product to buy with which product, which movie should be recommended to you? All of these is basically because of the user behavior. Based on the user behavior, machine is learning on how the e-commerce site should increase or club different offers and give to the customers, and that's the business need. But let's take a technical route and see how we can address this kind of activity with and without machine learning. The classical approach is certainly a programming route. However, let's compare machine learning to a classical programming approach. Now, when it comes to developing a prediction, which we will term as output from the data, which we will also term as input. So it's all the game of what input is given and what output is expected. We know that there needs to be some rules applied to the data. And when it comes to classical programming, these rules are created by humans based on factors like business requirement or domain knowledge for that matter. So classical programming traditionally will require these rule sets to be created manually by adding functions, by adding methods, but that is one programmed program. It is not dynamic. And your customer interest can be extremely unpredictable. And the more rules we add, the more heavy our application becomes. So to address these kind of dynamic behaviors, and the most dynamic behavior is accepted by a human, which can be a customer or a consumer. And that's where components like machine learning comes into the picture, where based on the machine learning approach, we create a model. We create a model which defines a process. Machine learning, by contrast to the classical programming approach, would let us use variety of data which is collected in past to automatically derive the patterns hidden in that data. And these patterns are then used to create the model, which is fundamentally applied to new data to provide more well-formed adaptive prediction. In this example, we would be able to use the customer's purchase history in combination with the data of customer and sales, maybe site-wide. And we can use machine learning to identify the pattern between past customer and sales and apply those patterns for new customer in order to provide better recommendation to them. And that's all machine learning talks about. Yes, there are rules in machine learning also. However, machine learning derives its own rules. It collects multiple ways of information and adapts to all complexities. And that's where machine learning adapts to the changing environment, creates its own rules, embed those into the models, and provide prediction, which is recommendation in this case. So that is the fundamental approach and understanding of machine learning. Now let's get into a bit technical aspects on how these models, or what are the stepping stones of machine learning to be adopted and used in the application. Any questions till now, guys? Are you all with me? Feel free to ask questions. Is machine learning clear?
Dear participants, you can type your answer in chat box.
Perfect. Thank you for your responses. Now let's take a step ahead on understanding what exactly a model is, because that's what we spoke about, that machine learning will create. So a model in a machine learning is the trained algorithm you use to identify patterns in your data. The key that is it's trained through the machine learning process. It isn't created manually by programmers setting up rules like in classical programming approach. So it creates rules for its own while learning the process. Let me show you an example of an algorithm. This is a very simple fundamental algorithm which has two perspectives, features and weights. The more weights we have to the features, the accurate prediction can be expected. Now this is one simple algorithm. While talking about this, let us explore the fundamental. Now, in the real environment, when we talk about two key components, it is around the perspective of features and weights. Feature is an important category of your data because that is the aspect with the help of which you will slice and dice. So features are the part of your data set that are identified as important in determining accurate outcomes. For example, with our product recommendation algorithm, the first feature might be whether or not the item is a hat. And this feature have to be expressed mathematically. So in this case, our model will convert a yes into 1 and no into 0. But the key to the complete context is where weights come in, because weights represent how important associated feature is going to perform, is going to accurately define the process. So something that has higher likelihood of accuracy has a higher weight and vice versa. In this case, our model has been trained and has determined that because this customer has purchased 8 hats in past, that translate to a weight of 0.8. It's important also to note, to note that this is a very simplified version of what really goes on. As the course or as we discuss, we will have different understanding of product weights, perspectives, and descriptions in depth. But for now, it is important for us to understand that every model will be defined into features and weights when the understanding comes into the picture. Further, once we go more in depth with the different variables or adaptation of next set, where the second feature, because there will not be only one feature, there could be multiple features with which we would want to slice and dice our data. The second feature has to do with whether or not a product is from a particular brand. To make it simple for you guys to understand, features can also be termed, as for our understanding, as filters on which we would like to bifurcate our data. We would like to bifurcate our data, let's say, based on category, based on color, based on brand, based on type, based on city, based on geography, and whatnot. That all depends on the business requirement catered, and further weight goes around it. So when we talk about the model which is created with these formulas, it recommends the product based on all these features and weights which we try to define and create in the model segment. It's a very simple model what we saw, and we understand from zeros and ones on how basically an algorithm will work into the aspects of algorithm which run at the back end. Having said that, let's take a deeper look into what and how these algorithms are categorized. So there are fundamentally 3 categories of machine learning algorithm which we all need to understand. Let me look at the chat if there are any questions. Any questions, please post. Okay, I have a question, sir. Pattern of data. pattern of data means basically it defines the way with which your data is growing, and that's the pattern of the data. Let's say in the e-commerce application, I'm getting multiple orders for a hat of Versace, and that creates a pattern. That's the pattern of data, the behavior with which our data is accumulated and grown. I hope I answered your question, Mr. Devi. I could still see few people, Ashwini, Dixit saying the voice is not clear. I am connected and it's quite good bandwidth at my end. However, if most of you are facing challenges, do let me know. If it is just one odd, then probably it's the bandwidth overall at both the ends. Can you guys hear me clearly? Can I have a thumbs up or yes in the chat?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
The answers are in chat box.
Okay. Okay. Coming back to our topic is the category of machine learning. So let's get back to the different types of machine learning algorithm. There's a supervised learning where a model uses known inputs and outputs to generalize future outputs, which is the first type. Then there's unsupervised learning where model doesn't know input or output, so it finds patterns in the data without any help. And there's the reinforcement learning where the model interacts with its environment, learns to take decisions that will maximize rewards. And then there's a deep learning, which is a subset of machine learning. These algorithms learn by using AI neural network are very important part of any machine learning project. And it's important to know the types of machine learning because the type will guide you towards selecting an algorithm that makes sense in solving your business problem, which you are planning to solve with these technologies. So let's get a bit more deeper into understanding the aspects of supervised learning. Any idea? Have you heard of this? So I would like to know or hear out if you have any definition in your mind about supervised learning. Guys, let's interact. Let's not keep it just one-way seminar. The more we interact, the more we learn. I'm fine to hear if you don't know anything about supervised learning, please say it. That's perfectly all right. However, if you have read, heard something about supervised learning, I'll be happy to hear it out from you guys.
So the question is in chat box that where labeled data is provided to machine.
Okay, that's the answer given. That's the answer given by the participants. Thanks for sharing your perspective. Thanks, Goldie. Anybody else would like to contribute? No, that's perfectly fine. So just to make it simple, when we talk about supervised learning, what Goldie said is right up to an aspect, but let's take a bit more deeper dive. Because supervised learning is the most popular type of machine learning because it's widely applicable, and that's the reason it's called supervised learning, because there's a need of a supervisor, a teacher who can show the right answers so that you can speak. And same happens in the case of machine. Like any student, a supervised algorithm needs to learn by example. Essentially, it needs a teacher who uses training data to help it determine the patterns and relationships between the inputs and output. Like here in this slide, in this picture, we have a car, and here is the car in the another picture. Now the model is trained on this labeled data so that it can accurately identify where a car is in a new picture it hasn't seen before. So we have labeled and trained machine overall, making it a bit more deeper for our understanding. Supervised learning further is divided into three important technical classifications: binary classification, multi-class classification, and regression. Because within supervised learning, we will also have to address different type of business problems. And there can be a broadly categorized way of identifying classification and regression. However, these are further divided into, as stated, binary, multi-class, and regression. Let's see what binary is all about, because that's where the observation talks. With classification problem, I'm sorry for the bad throat today. With classification problems, there are actually two types. The first is considered as binary, which we are speaking about, and that's where we think back to the example provided on how we are going to check on fraudulent transactions. The target variable in this example is limited to two options: fraud or not fraud. Now, this is an example of a binary classification problem. You are classifying an observation into two categories, and that's why it's bi. Either there is yes or no, fraud or not fraud, doing or not doing. Wherever there are two categories of classification, by default, it will come under binary classification. Now, when we talk about the next type, there is multi-class classification problem, where we have multiple features or multiple classes. These ML problems classify an observation into one or more categories. Pretend you have an ML model that predicts why customer is calling your store so that you can reduce the number of transfers needed before getting the customer to the right customer support department. And so we have three types of customer support department: IT support, returns, or accounting. Needless to say, there could be multiple types, but yes, here I am depicting and explaining multi-class with three different types. And the third one is the regression. Now, when we talk about regression as such, in the regression problem, you're no longer mapping an input to defined number of categories, but instead to a continuous value like an integer. One example of an ML regression problem is predicting the price of company stock. For example, in the regression-based algorithm, it is predicting that tomorrow the stock price for a company will go up or go down, or what will be the bracket around it. How will it define? Based on the values. And that's regression based on the interaction with the entity. Any questions on supervised learning? Guys, you are with me? I'm trying to make it as simple as possible. If it is very simple for you guys, please let me know. We can get a bit more into depth. No questions? Either everything is understood? Okay. E-commerce application. I have a question here by Goldie. E-commerce applications uses which type of learning? Most of them uses supervised learning. When it comes to sales department, when it comes to production, inventory or supply chain management, there could be regression which needs to be considered. IT support is just one type of multi-class. It's not a type, it is the department here. It was an example, Mr. BV. You can have any department of your choice which you want. My objective was when we say multi-class classification, there could be multiple departments or not only two, wherein in binary, there are only two. That's the only difference. You can have 10 different departments also mentioning into multi-class. Thanks for asking question. I hope I answered your question, both of you. Yeah, thanks Goldie for acknowledging. Great. Going further, the next important type which we need to understand is unsupervised learning. Now, while talking about unsupervised learning, we need to talk about the kind of data we are trying to cater. So when it comes to unsupervised learning, the machine has to uncover and create labels for itself. Now this uncover practice can happen with different segments because there is no supervisor in the room. In unsupervised learning, we do not provide any labels. We do allow variables and patterns to unfold themselves based on the common behavior. In these instances, the machine has to uncover and create the properties of entire data set and then construct the patterns. A common subcategory of unsupervised learning is also known as clustering. This kind of algorithm or clustering algorithm is responsible to group data into different clusters based on similar features in order to understand the attributes of a specific cluster. Like everybody with red hat into one cluster, everybody with Versace hat into one cluster, everybody with type into one cluster. And that's how the customer behavior or purchasing habits can be understood, accumulated by unsupervised learning. And it is capable to identify different group of customers and label them. It may be sufficient for smaller companies to purchase basic cloud hosting resources. However, larger companies may be more likely to purchase the entire AWS practice on how unsupervised learning works. This is one of the classified example of unsupervised learning when it comes to a use case, detecting a speed of camera failure. Now, in this use case of unsupervised learning, we are trying to detect an anomaly, such as speed camera. Now, speed camera is a concept to capture the speed of a car on the road and probably find them. Now, this model is designed to detect potential hardware failures of speed cameras by looking for anomalies in their data. And in a classical algorithm programming solution, every data point outside the defined boundary would have to be evaluated by potential failures. But when it comes to unsupervised learning, models can define that based on outliers, such as people driving at very high speeds at a random points during the day, and what is more likely to be result of failure with different time span of the factors. So these use cases will help on detecting or defining the practices on what are false, what are the R's, what are the positives, and what are the different segments of unsupervised learning, which will help us to understand the structure of unsupervised learning and clustered data. And the third one talks about reinforcement learning. Now, when we talk about reinforcement learning, it is more about trial and another. Another kind of algorithm which is reinforcement learning is gaining popularity based on the differentiator in the business today. Unlike the first two algorithms, this one continuously improves its model by mining or taking feedback from previous iterations. So in reinforcement learning, an agent continuously learns through trial and error as it interacts in the environment. And this is broadly useful when the reward of desired outcome is known, but the path to achieve it is not. And that's where the path requires a lot of trial and error to discover if we are having or working or driving in the correct path. AWS Depressor is a classic example. In AWS Depressor Simulator, the agent is the virtual car and the environment is a virtual racetrack. Now, this racetrack has actions which have throttle, which have steering, which have commands, completing the racetrack as quickly as possible without deviating from the track. And the car needs to learn the desired driving behavior to reach our goal of completing the track. To learn this, we will use different rewards and incentivize it. However, practicing it multiple times will increase the behavior. And that's where the reinforcement learning will play a role. Every time we make a mistake, that is captured and corrected the next time we go through that particular phase. And that complete structure of continuous learning, we'll talk about reinforcement learning as such. Guys, are you with me? Any questions on unsupervised and reinforcement learning? Is it making sense to you all going through these topics?
Sir, there is a question in chat box. Which algorithm are implemented in supervised learning?
So there are three types of algorithms in supervised learning, as we saw: binary, multi-class, which can be used in supervised learning. Also, exact algorithms based on the Python or R practices will have different aspects going through it. So if I may take you through supervised learning, these are the three types of algorithms which are defined. There are 38 common types of algorithms which categorize themselves into these particular segments. I'll come back to that once we move ahead and complete the next part of the aspect. However, the pattern in supervised learning is divided into three important types of algorithms.
Sir, next question is train data and test data are used in supervised?
Yeah, that's right.
Sir, my question is, in supervised algorithm, we always consider the weight, and in unsupervised, we are not supposed to consider the weight. So, while developing any application, how could we, these both algorithms are effective when you are considering the weight?
Yeah, but it depends. It classifies based on the feature also. What is the depth of the weight and width of the feature makes the difference. So let me give you a simple example. If your sales team wants to analyze based on the pricing, which is just one feature and weight, supervised algorithm with fundamental binary adaptation will be useful. In similar cases, if the management wants to know the global footprint where there are multiple aspects, multiple weights and multiple features on which color is selling more in India, which color is selling more in states, which pattern or which product. So these depth of different features and weight, that's where the objective changes, and then probably we need to go for multi-class or regression as such. So it depends on the problem statement which helps us to derive. The more broad this problem statement is, we will move towards regression and multi-class. The narrow problem statement, focused problem statement will be binary allowed supervised learning.
Thank you, sir.
Great, thank you. Now the next important type is deep learning, which we all should be aware of, because that's also an important part. As we have talked about three categories of machine learning, we need to know and evaluate the tactics around deep learning also. Deep learning is basically a subset of machine learning. These algorithms, which we spoke, learn using artificial neural networks around deep learning practices. Let's learn a bit more about it. Now, as deep learning represents a huge leap forward in the capabilities of artificial intelligence and machine learning, while evaluating this, the theory of deep learning goes back in decades. The hardware required to run deep learning problems wasn't generally accessible until very recently. But now, as it's available on cloud, we're able to use deep learning to address the problems around the complex behavior. To demonstrate these aspects of how and complex and what are different categories which needs to be considered in deep learning, let us understand it from a case study. Now, to demonstrate the leaps between these categories, we can use a classic example of machines that can play chess, a normal chess game. Now, with the classic artificial intelligence, machines couldn't learn anything that wasn't given to them directly in the code. Because we had chess game 20 years back also in our Windows 95 machine operating systems. And there it was programmatically created. So a machine could play chess based on the rules that were programmed, that were provided. But an improvement to its strategy would have to come from a programmer explicitly by calling them out and programming them in. However, with machine learning, as we have learned in this module, chess playing machines can actually learn and improve their chess skills by doing things like analyzing past chess games that were played by humans. They could be provided with simple chess strategy but then use something like traditional reinforcement learning, where they can identify patterns in the moves that were more likely to result in winning versus moves that were more likely to result in losing the game. And that by default improve and boost the performance. But now with deep learning, we are able to create machines that can learn chess in a fashion more like how humans learn it, which is by playing it. A deep learning machine could be given the most basic rules on how chess is played, and it uses its own complex layer-based iterative approach to learn its own chess strategies and recognize patterns based on several orders of magnitude, which are more complex than traditional machine learning models. This is one of the standard way of defining and understanding the model. As you can see on the slide on how what deep learning is different from the classical machine learning models. We have talked about the features, importance, and how they're used in classical programming. However, while we explore it further in deep learning, the features are derived by the ANN, which is artificial neural network itself, during the training and tuning processes. And the performance of these models are based on that training is when it is fed through different iterative based on the final model which is derived, which improves not only performance but also the understanding and capability of the player. And all of this revolves around predictions. So how does ANN works and how deep learning learns it? The deep learning model which is used today rely on things called artificial neurons. These math functions that receive inputs and sum them up to create an output work on artificial neurons fundamentally started in 40s. However, it wasn't until technology breakthrough in 2010 which enables ANN to be used in real environments. And each of it summarizes the process of mapping, crapping, and working with ANN. There are multi-layer aspects which helps in defining the correct service projects. Let's break down to more complex and focused example on deep learning analysis, which is image classification or image analysis. Just give me a moment, guys. Let me put in my charger. Just give me a second. Yeah, I'm back. Yeah, the fundamental aspect is image classification using ANN. Let's break this down into more concrete example here by analyzing an image. In this example, we see that the machine starts by identifying specific features of the input, beginning with pixels. From there, it also identifies the edges, corners, contours, objects, parts, predictions on what and how the object is. In this way, it is extracting features like edges, corners, and parts automatically based on the algorithm that the data is being trained on. It can identify patterns at levels based on how human eye can't easily identify and work with it. And this complete impact plays around the statistics. While we create the statistics of adaptation in deep learning, we can also define the large scale visual recognition challenge competition on the photograph, which was given by ANN and single neural network were nearly same, which is a most important understanding and usage of adaptation of deep learning. You can see the growth, how ANN has been performed, and it has achieved today more than 99.95% of accuracy. Now, while working with this, there are different features because deep learning, as we discussed, are subset of machine learning. They learn using ANN. They can be trained on raw features, and it includes all machine learning features as such. Now, till now, we have seen the fundamentals, what we should know as a terminology or while working with machine learning and AI. Now, let's come back to AWS. Now, Amazon Web Services have different services around development, around infrastructure, around databases, around warehouses, around BI. Similarly, they also have a set process and service, which is termed as ML pipeline, machine learning pipeline. So to begin, while working on AWS with machine learning techniques, we need to first start with pipeline. And that's where the building block of an AWS machine learning project starts with. We should always start with the business problem. Then from there, we want to formulate it. And while the formulation is done, in parts, we articulate the complete business problem and convert it into a machine learning problem. Once we are done with the formulation, we move towards data preparation and pre-processing phase. In the data processing and pre-processing phase, we have two important tasks: data collection and integration, and data pre-processing and visualization. Data collecting and integration is basically to ensure your raw data is in one central accessible place. And data pre-processing and data visualization, which involves transforming raw data into an understandable format and extracting important features from the data. All this is done just to ensure that your data is formatted correctly for your ML algorithm, that your data is cleaned up and understood. And in the next phase, once data pre-processing is complete, we are ready to train and tune the model. This is an iterative process which can be performed by many different types throughout the workflows. Initially, upon training your model, you will not yield the results you might be expecting. However, you'll have to perform additional feature engineering to tune your models with hyperparameters and retaining features in AWS. When we do that, we move towards evaluating the model, which basically terms the performance, how your model has been performed. If the model meets your personal business goal, then that's fine. And if it doesn't, as I said, we will have to rework, redo, and work on feature engineering and data augmentation to work in an iterative process. And if yes, model is deployed, and with the new data, we again start retraining. This is one important life cycle of machine learning pipeline on AWS. Let me take you through a use case. Machine learning is not a solution for every type of problem. Let's make it very clear. Think of business case that is not appropriate for machine learning. It might not appropriate for multiple values, multiple computations which might be required. However, you cannot code the rules, which means many human tasks which needs to be adequately resolved using simple rule-based solution. And you cannot scale with different aspects. So that's where machine learning will come into the picture, where you need to evaluate. ML can be applied to many different use cases, which can help extracting hidden patterns from data, summarize them with different aspects like categorization, predictive routing, fraud detection, personalized advertising, voice assistance, dynamic pricing, email filtering, self-driving cars, customer churn predictions, and whatnot. We'll dive into a few of these in coming slides. This is a case study of an Amazon call center. Several years ago, Amazon needed to improve the way it routed customer service calls. So it looked into machine learning for help. And the original routing system worked something like this, where a customer would call in and was greeted by a menu. Press 1 for returns, press 2 for Kindle, press 3, and blah, blah, blah. Well, you get that idea. However, the customer would then make a selection and be sent to an agent who would be trained in the right skills to help the customer. Now, during the problem formulation phase of pipeline, Amazon determined that the current routing system was problematic. And thinking about Amazon, you may be able to guess what we do and sell a lot of stuff there, where things and customers might be calling for. And it's just about endless. So if we didn't play the right option to the customer calling in, the customer might be sent to a journalist or even wrong specialist, who then had to figure out what customer needs before finally sending them to an agent. Now, for some businesses, maybe that's not the end of the world. For Amazon, dealing with hundreds of millions of customer calls a year, it was pretty inefficient. And it cost a lot of money and wasted a lot of time. And worst of all, it was not a good way to get your customers the help they needed. So to do this, in the problem formulation phase, the business problem was articulated in this phase as the step 1 on how to route customer agents with the right skills, therefore reduce call transfer. And to solve these problems, we need to predict what skill would solve a customer call. Converting to a machine learning problem, this became identifying patterns in customer data that we could use to predict accurate customer routing. Based on the wording of this ML problem, it was clear that we were dealing with a multi-class classification problem. Now, as we know, it's multi-class classification. It's important to identify the, the data, the base of our productions on the past data from the customer service calls where we are dealing with supervised learning. We eventually would train our model on a bunch of historical customer data, but the data we needed for this came from answering questions like what were customers' recent orders, did customer own a Kindle or Prime membership or whatever it is. And that further act as features. Moving towards visualizing and pre-processing the agent skills, it created a structure which helped in training a correct model. And that basically gave the visual analysis and trained the data set with the trained data set, validated data set, and test sets which were defined in the model segment. Post which we went to the evaluation and then feature re-engineering of parameters and then the deployment of the model for that matter with different values to different scales to the correct agent. This basically increased the productivity and resolved the problem for Amazon when it comes to problem solving into the cases. Now, this was one complete life cycle of AWS pipeline. I have stopped presentation. Let me share one small example, a small practical on how AWS looks like and what are the pipelines. Just give me a moment before we end the session. Let me take you through the AWS console so that is clear for all. As you can see on my slide, this is the AWS console, and these are the different services around blockchain, around AI, around data science, around database, around analytics, around business applications, which AWS has, which needs to be worked on. So here, the important service for machine learning is Amazon SageMaker. Amazon SageMaker, which is responsible to build, train, and deploy machine learning models. So we select this service, which will take us to SageMaker console. And this will show you how it works when it comes to labeling, building, training, tuning, deploying, discovering the different models. And that's where we have labeling actions. We have notebook instances, which creates a pipeline. We have processing jobs. We have training models and algorithms. And then EdgeMaker and deployment with augmented AI realities. So this is the important place where you would see different algorithms which can be used. You are free to create your own algorithms also. These are different algorithms which are available by different companies on AWS which are selling their algorithms. However, as I mentioned, apart from AWS Marketplace, you have option to create your own algorithm as well. And this is your workplace of Amazon SageMaker. And in the Amazon SageMaker Studio, we will be able to create create the interface of pipelines which needs to be used and built. I hope you can see my screen.
Sorry to interrupt you, sir. There
Yeah.
is a one question. Actually, one question is on the last topic that
Okay.
can you please tell us what is manually engineered features in ML? And the second question is how to create account on AWS.
Okay, so manually engineered features are again product based. Are completely product based on what would you like to filter on, what would you like to predict on,
नाही ते दोन झालेच नव्हते ना.
and how to create an account. How to create account on AWS? basically you will have to go to aws.com and create your own account. The creation of account is free for 1 year, and it depends on different services which charge accordingly. And then you can create the applications in AWS to have writing Python in the notebook or creating pipelines or working with the studio as such. So this service is something where you need to explore different models with AWS. And this was just an introduction to this service, AWS SageMaker. After understanding the important aspects and getting deep dive into it, you can explore this further. Is it AWS on free trial? Yes, it is on free trial for 1 year after creating an account. So it is completely free. It has limitation for free also, like you can use only 750 images, 135 virtual machines, and so on and so forth. Unless and until you do anything exclusively or anything in production, you will not be charged at all. However, I think for creation of account, they asked to enter a credit card on file, though they don't charge you. It is just for verification and authentication. Thank you guys. I am done for the day. If you have any questions, feel free to ask. If you have anything, you can write back to me and connect with me. We can explore further. And if you need a deep dive session, you can connect to the college, university, and then get back to me. Thank you very much.
Dear participants, if you have any questions, please type your question in chat box.
SageMaker is the service from AWS to encapsulate or to work on machine learning. It's an interface, like probably for C# we have Visual Studio, for Java we have Oracle JDeveloper or Eclipse or something of that sort. To write and create machine learning projects on cloud with AWS, we have a service called SageMaker, which has a lot of algorithms predefined, pre-created, which can be used and consumed. And then you can anytime use Python or R to write the custom code on the notebooks in SageMaker. Pipeline has components like notebooks, which needs to be created and adapted with the algorithms which are defined. I hope that answers your question, Mr. PV.
Sir, next question is, how can we relate AI, ML and data science? The second question is AWS is a cloud service provider?
Yes, AWS is a cloud service provider. And relation of AI, ML and data science is certainly there. It completely depends on businesses on which we need to work. Data science is more towards 360-degree approach of a domain to evaluate and nurture the data. AI and ML is more focused towards resolving the problems or expectations of business. Data science majorly will act as input to majority of business cases, wherein AI/ML will be responsible as one of the integral part of data science. So that's data science inside which there is ML, deep learning, which is encapsulated in AI. PV, how many % data is used in AWS testing data? It depends. It does not depend on AWS. It is you will have to create and decide it could be 10%, 15%, 30%, 100%. It's you who decide how much data should be used as training data set.
Yes, participants, any question, please put your questions in chat box. Sir, there
AWS,
is one question.
yeah, AWS itself is a platform. If you mean to ask which language, I suppose it supports all the languages. You can use, you can write JavaScript, you can write Python, you can write R, you can write Golang. It's open.
I think there is no questions from participants. Thank you, sir, for such a wonderful session. It was really very informative and helpful. Thank you once again. One instruction for the participant: to mark your today's attendance, you have to submit quiz and feedback form. I would like to announce that today's session is over. We will meet tomorrow at 10:30 a.m. for day 3 of STTP with speaker Dr. Pooja Jain ma'am on topic diving into machine learning. Thank you all.